I'm Valkyrie with the Frag Dolls for Comcast here at the 2006 Penny Arcade Expo, where all the fanatic gamers go to see the best games coming out. I'm going to bring you a sneak peek behind the game of Dark Messiah Might and Magic. We're going to sit down with the lead game developer for that game, Alastair. So thank you for joining the show, and let's get it on. Well, thank you so much for being here, Alastair. How are you enjoying Seattle so far?
It's very cool. It's my first visit.
Have you followed the Penny Arcade comics online before?
Yeah, I think most people read them in dev teams.
Yeah. So you guys get a kick out of it?
Yeah,
Great.
as long as they're not making fun of us.
Dark Messiah Might and Magic is one of the upcoming titles that a lot of people are excited about. So want to first start off, maybe you can tell the audience the premises behind the game and how you guys came about.
The premise behind the multiplayer game is to take all of the cool stuff from the single player game and translate it into the multiplayer world so that people can play against each other rather than fighting computer bots. So in that respect, it's slightly different, but we've tried to stay as close as we can to the spirit of the game. Okay,
you are the lead game designer behind Dark Messiah Might and Magic. Tell me what exactly that means for your involvement in the game.
Well, I'm lead designer on the multiplayer side of things, and so in the way the project worked is that Ubisoft came to us, Kuju, and said they want us to do the multiplayer component of a product they already had in development from Arcane Studios in France. So we were adapting an already built single-player game for a multiplayer experience. So in a sense, that was a slightly different project from just starting afresh. We already had a very clear direction of what they wanted and essentially what skills and what spells and the look and the feel and the sound of the game. And so our job was really to take as much of that as we possibly could and translate it into the multiplayer experience. It's been about 5-6 years since the last really sort of popular online multiplayer fantasy game, and since then we've had stuff like Lord of the Rings films and so forth, and fantasy is cool again. And with the power of the consoles we've got now and the PCs we've got now, you can really go to town on the special effects. You can actually see fireballs exploding and bodies flying everywhere. So that was sort of the main thing. And then I suppose in the combat side, a lot of first-person shooters are just that, shooters. It's people with guns hiding behind walls and shattered battlefields, and actually bringing in sort of melee fantasy combat and sword fighting. So in that sense, there's inspirations of, Bushido Blade, Soul Calibur, stuff like that.
What is your favorite class to play?
I really try hard not to have a favourite class. Lead designer, I'm supposed to like all of them equally, but I will confess that when I'm actually playing, if I have a complete free choice, I'll probably pick a warrior more than anything else. And that's just from the style of play. It's not really stronger than anyone else.
Right.
It's just a different emphasis on how you play the game. In the single-player game, you've got both stealth abilities and a bow at the same time. And we realised pretty early on that what we didn't want was an invisible sniper.
Right.
So we split those guys up and we said, right, okay, you're going to go invisible and you're going to be... And what we said is, if you're going to be invisible, you'd also have to be up close. So you have to kill people, intimately.
Right.
Whereas if you're going to be a sniper, then you have to be really obvious. So all of the arrows have long trails and the archer is quite obvious and he has to go up to high ground and so forth.
I have to say, normally on RPG-type games, I'm a mage. I like to do high damage from far distance. But on this game in particular, I found myself moving more and more to the priestess, which I don't know why. Healing everyone, keeping them up, and maybe it's because it's a female character in the game as well. But I also like the slow with the snakes coming up out of the ground, or the little reeds, or
brambles.
Brambles, is that what you're calling them? I'm sorry. So the brambles that come up, there's more. You can still do damage as a priestess with the curses and all that.
You're lethal.
Right, I am. But more than anything, I love doing those healing wells that you have that you throw down and everyone goes I just absolutely adored that element. So another thing I learned about when I played the multiplayer is it had a familiar type talent tree that you would normally get in RPGs when you're leveling up, but an actual tree.
That was a very strong impetus from Ubisoft actually when we started the project, that it was clear, because one of the great things about the single player is that it blends a first-person action game with an RPG, and one of the things about an RPG is that you develop a character and you choose how to build the character, and so they were really keen to actually get that through into the multiplayer game and have an aspect of building a character up as you play, because that makes people more intricate,
Right.
that they associate with their character more strongly. The other great thing is, in other first-person competitors, you shoot someone and hooray, you got a point, that's great, you killed someone.
Mm-hmm.
In this, you killed someone, but also, here, goodies.
Right.
What are you going to use your goodies for? What are you going to spend it on? One of the rules was that you cannot buy all the skills on the skill tree. You just do not have enough points. And also specialization comes in. So if you specialize in one side of your skill tree, you'll get brilliant at that, for example, fire magic. But if you do that, you're going to become much weaker at lightning magic.
Right.
And in the case of the priestess, if you're brilliant at curing people, your curse abilities go down. and vice versa.
So, in Dark Messiah Might and Magic, what are you most proud of with that game, with the multiplayer?
It's a little bit technical, but in the network environment, you have all sorts of limitations that you don't have in a single-player game, or, for example, a console beat-em-up. Something like Soul Calibur or Dead or Alive has instant reactions really quick because you're all on the same console. But on the internet, you could be playing against someone in Canada, against someone in Mexico, it doesn't matter. And there's always a certain amount of time, a lag, between when someone does something and when other players see it. And that is, to a certain extent, inimical to a good fighting game. And so I'm very confident in my solution. I hope other people are as well.
That actually leads me to another question then. Where do you see the future and your role as a game designer?
The games industry at the moment is very hits driven, and it seems to be focused around, 7, 10, 20 games a year. I think in 20 years' time there'll be 100 plus games a year that are popular.
I hope that's true. There's nothing more I like than having a huge library and the ability to play whatever I want when I want it.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah. All right, Alastair, we asked you, it is a Frag Doll tradition, to bring an item that would be personal to you or something that involved the game. So show and tell, what do you have?
Okay, well, because I flew out here, I didn't actually bring my crossbow, which we also have.
You have a real crossbow?
No, it's a toy crossbow,
oh, okay.
But it was cool to see the actual, archery stuff and how to actually fire it. But what I have brought was this, which is, a role-playing game. I mean, we basically don't use dice, but this is quite cool. It's a little LED spinning top, which works a bit like a magic 8-ball. So it'll make decisions for you. And occasionally, if we're at a deadlock in a meeting or something, you can spin the top and see if it says yes or no.
So this will answer all your life's questions right there?
Yeah, if you obey the rules of the dice.
So will it tell me, because I know you wouldn't, if there's a making of Dark Messiah Might and Magic 2 coming out?
I don't know. Do you want to try?
I will try. I'd love to. Tell me if they're Dark Messiah 2, because they're not saying anything. Could be true. Oh. All right, my next question is, quick, pirates or ninjas?
Pirates. Because if a thing's worth doing, it's worth overdoing.
Woo! And I'm a pirate. So, Alastair, I want to thank you for taking the time to come out and speak with everyone. I know that a lot of people are excited about this game. I've played the beta on it, and I can tell you it's spectacular, and I'm truly looking forward to its release. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you for joining the show here at the Penny Arcade 2006 Expo. We had a great time, got to see a lot of things behind the making of the game. Dark Messiah Might and Magic coming to you soon, so see you at the next big gaming event.